All right, we are back for another episode of the Kinky Christian. With me again is my lovely wife and slave and kitten, Melissa. She looks so happy to be here, right? Just so you guys know, she hates being on camera. Hates it. As beautiful as she hates it. So I appreciate every time she comes on with me.
You're welcome.
I know. I'll hear about it later.
No, usually.
So this episode, we're going to swing back around and touch on something that I touched on at the beginning of all this. And that's going to be sub drop. And the reason I'm going to swing back around and touch on that is because I still haven't been able to find like a professional that will come on and talk to me about this stuff. It's very difficult. However, I have my own sub, and she is going to school to be a therapist. So I guess that makes her my professional from now on. So
I guess it does.
It does. So you just
lucked out.
I just lucked out into that. So I want to touch on the sub drop again and get it more information out there for you from a sub's perspective, not a dom's perspective, and from someone who experiences sub drop, and also someone who is going to school to understand all the ins and outs of sub drop. So how about a big round of applause for soon to be doctor therapist super sub Melissa?
I'm not aspiring to be a doctor, but
anyway,
I'll be 150 before I...
Oh, you'll be fine. So, sub drop.
Yes.
So
it sucks.
Well,
just throwing that
does
out
it
there.
suck?
It sucks.
Yeah. Why does it suck? What about it sucks?
So, a lot sucks. A lot sucks. A lot sucks.
Just a lot.
So,
basically, everything. Everything about it sucks.
For me, especially being a strong-willed individual.
Some people call it pig-headed, but
some people call that alpha.
Yeah.
Some people call that just being a woman.
Some people call it pain in the butt.
That is true. That would be
like this somebody.
Like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sub drop for a strong personality sucks in the aspect that you want to be strong. You know, I can handle this. And then a depression sets in. And then the emotional spiral sets in. And then feeling like you're not good enough sets in. And then feeling like, oh, I let my master down. And I mean, it just spirals.
So I was going to say, so it's more of a sub spiral than it is a sub drop.
Yeah. And sometimes it happens like right away. Sometimes it will smack you out of the blue in the middle of the week where you're just humming along, everything's okie day, and then you're just like, wow, I'm really down.
Okay, but is that sub drop or is that just depression?
Well, considering it happens more often after a scene, and it's really intense. Like, it's right now when it happens. It's just like right
It's
now.
like someone flicks a switch and...
Yeah. Now, could it be something else? Yes. But because of the timing of it, I equate it to sub drop. Because it doesn't really happen like that. if we haven't done a scene.
So, what is like the longest that you can recall? The longest gap between a scene and when sub drop hit? I mean, are we talking days, weeks?
I I cannot speak to weeks because we try to have
Oh
a scene
yeah,
every week,
yeah.
so I can't really
At
speak
least
to that.
one, yeah.
It's been days. Now, when there have been times when we've it's been several weeks because life between scenes, I don't notice the sub drop in that aspect. I notice the emotional disconnect, which I don't know if that would be labeled
I
sub
wouldn't think
drop or
that's
not.
sub
I
drop
think
because
it's
I mean,
just,
you can have that in a regular relationship.
yeah,
And technically, I mean, you can have sub drop in a regular relationship. It's just not called sub drop.
correct.
If you're not having sex, or if you have like intense sex, take BDSM out of it. You have intense sex and get the pheromones and all the adrenaline pumping. It's still going to come down.
Right, because
You're,
it's the same
it's the
chemicals.
same principle, same philosophy. Everything's happening the same.
Correct.
I think labeling it as sub drop is just something we do in the BDSM community to make us more aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
I think that you can have those exact same experiences in any kind of relationship.
I would agree with that.
You know, I think they're probably a little more intense and everything's a little more heightened in a BDSM relationship. In, I mean, just by nature of what happens in them.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
but there's a lot of intentionality. So we're like hyper aware of everything. I'm not trying to discredit people that are not in a lifestyle and their relationships. But I would say if we looked back before we entered into the lifestyle, would you say that we were as intentional and intense? You know,
it's difficult to really say or touch on that because of the way our life was before we got into the lifestyle.
true, we were kind of
I mean,
24/7 before we made it
well,
official.
but not only that, when you stop and think about it, so when we first got together, it was kind of I don't want to call it stereotypical, but it was kind of stereotypical. The horny young guy who wanted sex all the time with the woman who was like, stop, no, enough. I don't need sex all the time. And then, we had kids so young. So your focus went to the kids and not, I mean, this was our dance the whole time was, sex. I wanted it. I wanted it. I wanted to do, I'm going to call it kinky stuff, but I mean,
It's kinky stuff.
it is, but I mean, compared to what we do now, it's really not. I mean,
It's tame.
It really kind of is. But I wanted different things,
Right.
and you were just not there in your life. And so at a point in my life, I just mentally and everything turned it off. So there was a disconnect for quite a long time that we lived with and we were okay with. Whether we wanted to be okay with it or not, we weren't doing anything to change it up until the point where these feelings started getting stirred up in you. And that changed everything for us when they started, all this stuff started coming up. So it's not even. I mean, we're more intentional about it now than what we've ever been in our entire lives together.
Yes.
And we're we I'm trying to think of how to say this to where it makes sense. I know what I'm thinking. So because of the emotional impact on you, if we don't feed into our dynamic, it really takes you out.
It really does.
Emotionally and physically. I think you suffer physically if we don't. So because of that, we have to be far more intentional with our lifestyle than we ever had before.
Well, and I think because we're aware of it, like we acknowledge when, I'm saying this very lightly, when I'm not able or allowed to take care of you, be the one to take care of you, and it's the other way around, you're always taking care of me. We're more vocal about what that means and what it does to me emotionally. Whereas before, I was always the one that took care of everything. All of the who needed to be where, when,
All this life scheduling and
everything.
yeah.
So it was just the way that life was. And then it stopped.
And left a big void.
And yeah, that messed me up. So now that we're aware that it is who I am, that I need to take care of, and train of thought gone. But
That train done left that station.
whoosh!
Left you at the.
But I have to be able to be submissive. I have to be able to take care of you, and when that isn't happening because of whatever reason, it puts me in a spin. So then
Which is also kind of like sub drop.
it is almost like, well, it's kind of like sub drop because I'm not able to do what
you're coming
wired.
out of, and you're coming out of something that is very important and it's being taken from you.
Correct. Yeah. So the sadness and the lack of purpose. It
affects you. Yeah.
It affects you. Yeah. It can get scary. Like when I didn't know how to communicate that to you. Yeah, I'm just sad. Well, what happened?
Right.
And trying to understand that nothing happened is just
You're sad.
how I feel. Like there's this empty void. And we didn't understand the why. Now we understand the why.
Right.
So.
Well, and that's kind of why we do this podcast, is educate. We're always trying to learn ourselves. Always. We always want to learn more, to know more, to be better, and we want to share it with as many people as we can, so all 20 of our subscribers.
Hey.
That's why hit
Somebody's
the like,
listening.
hit the subscribe, you know, listen
Comment.
to us, comment on it, we want to help and we want to educate. I know I've had a couple of conversations with a couple of our subscribers, and it was really, really nice and cool to interact, with people.
They had valid questions.
Yeah. So it was really, really nice. We will answer if you message us. We'll answer if you, email us at the Kinky Christian Podcast at gmail.com. We'll, trust me, we love talking to people about, us and life and what we know we'll share. So,
Which is why I'm going into counseling.
which is why she's going into counseling. Yeah. So yeah, sub drop is real. It can happen at any time. It's rough. Some people it can happen right after a scene. I've seen you, in tears after a scene,
Oh my, yeah.
and
The emotional, like, whoosh.
that's really what it is. It's an emotional, like, letdown almost.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because you have all this intensity of,
Yeah.
The physical, the emotional, if we are able to get me out of my head, which is
It can be difficult.
difficult
Sometimes.
to do. And then it just comes to an end, and then you can just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's almost like a detox.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be like, going cold turkey from drugs, and
Also rough.
you know what I mean. It can be a rough thing to go through.
Yeah.
So I wanted to swing back around and touch on this because, like I said, now I got my soon-to-be therapist. She's going to be my resident expert now, whether she wants to be or not. Good thing about being her master. But she's also a sub, so she's experienced this and knows what she's been through. And again, everyone's different. So as a sub, you're going to experience different things. As a master, be aware, be constantly in communication with them. Find out what they need.
They may not even
They
know.
may not even know.
They
Maybe
may
they
just need to be held.
I was gonna say maybe just some snuggling.
Yeah. Until they can figure it out.
And sometimes trying too hard to solve it for them is going to make it worse. They'll let you know if they want you to solve something or if they just need you there. And you just got to be there.
Correct.
But sub drop can be a very dangerous thing. Like I said, we call it sub drop just because, we're talking about the community. But in life, it can be a very dangerous thing. People come down from a high, and, there are people who take their own lives because of something they've struggled with. And I want people to know that, there's always help out there. There's always someone out there, that's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And I believe all of us have thought about it at one point or time, one point or another. I believe everyone struggles with depression and different severities of it. And I know when you're in the middle of it all, you're not thinking clearly, just from experience. We've all been there. But man, do your best to try to reach out to somebody. I mean, even if it's us, reach out to us and we're here. We will do what we can to help, whether it's sub drop or just depression. You need to stay with us, right?
Right.
Stay here, stay with us. Every life matters. So just be more aware when you're in the relationships and in the lifestyle that it can be pretty intense, and sub drop is for reals.
It's for reals.
So,
And it sucks.
and it sucks. And don't forget that tops or doms or masters, they can experience a drop too.
They can.
You know,
Yep.
it's not as common, but they can experience it too. So
So if they go silent on you after a scene, sometimes it's not. I don't want to say sometimes. More than likely, it's not anything that the submissive has
no,
done or not done. Usually, it's
it's something else. Something
that they're
yeah,
trying to deal with on their
on their
own,
end, yeah.
or they don't even know.
Yeah.
Like they can get down too.
Well,
It's
just
the
remember,
same.
we're all people. We're all humans. We have different personalities, different desires, but we all have the same chemicals running through us.
Correct.
We all have same responses to things. We all get happy. We all get sad. We all get depressed. We all just handle it differently. Some of us internalize it, and those are the ones that you just never see it coming.
Yeah.
You know, so be intentional. Be intentional with reaching out to your friends, your family, your you know like I said, if you're struggling and you need someone to just talk to, we're here. Reach out to us and keep an eye on each other. So,
Agreed.
agreed? We good?
We're good.
All right. So until next time, guys, take care of each other and God bless. You good?
Good to go.